Tyler's like, I have 3 quarterbacks.
Guys, how many kickers was I supposed to draft? I got 4.
I've drafted 4 kickers.
Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast that gives you all of the information you need to have an edge in your Pathfinder fantasy leagues.
Yeah, which is a super common thing, right? Everyone else is a fantasy league in their group.
Everybody else is a fantasy leaguer?
Not just us.
That's what everyone's doing now.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Sam.
And today we're doing something different. So if you keep up to date on future Paizo releases, and I think we've also mentioned it on this podcast, you will know that one of the books coming out this year is called War of the Immortals. Or War for the Immortals? I think War of the Immortals.
War of the Immortals sounds right. I can look.
And the most interesting thing that'll happen in this book is that one of the core 20 deities will be dying.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So we've mentioned it before, like I said, but needless to say, this is going to have some large ramifications on the lore of Galarian going forward.
Yes, and it's War of Immortals.
War of Immortals.
Not even the.
Not even
just
the.
War of
generally.
Immortals. So what we learned this week, however, is that rather than just waiting to tell us who is going to die at Gen Con, which is usually when they do their big book releases of the year, it seems like instead they're going to be using their blog to mark deities as, quote, safe in the weeks leading up to August. So, when talking about it and how we wanted to cover this topic, since as lore guides, we wanted to cover something as epic as a deity dying, we decided that the best way to do this is to draft deities in a fantasy team and compete against each other to see who wins for bragging rights.
The best plan.
And when you say wins, you mean who we're trying to predict who dies.
Yes, you are trying to predict who dies.
So you actually lose. We win, the god loses.
Accurate. So, if you've never played fantasy sports before, basically, no matter what the sport is, you are acting as the coach of a team, and you draft players from all the different teams in the league, and then every week when your players are playing in their match or game or whatever, they get points for doing stuff. So, Ryan and our fantasy American Football League people. So if you get a touchdown, you get points. If you run a certain amount, if you get catches, you get points. If you fumble a ball, you lose points, etc.
And for the record, I am extremely good at fantasy football. I have come in last and second last in my divisions this year.
Nice. I came in last this year, so we are off to a great start.
So we're crushing it.
Hey, I did great in Tour de France fantasy.
That's true.
I came in second last year.
That's true. We also did a Tour de France fantasy league, which was a lot of fun.
That's my favorite fantasy league.
So, how this is going to work is we are going to roll off to pick our drafts. Before we dive in, we're going to do some rules. So, like Ryan said, we are trying to pick the deity who is going to die.
Yes.
If the deity dies and they're on your team, you get 25 points.
Woo!
But every week, once they release, this is assuming that they're going to be releasing this weekly. If not, we will have to change some things.
Sure.
But assuming they release a safe person weekly, after they have released it, we'll get points based on how many people of your team are still on the chopping block.
Yes.
So
you gain points the longer your roster's not marked safe.
Yeah, you're going to get half a point per deity you still have on your draft per week.
Okay.
So theoretically, if you're like 20 some odd weeks away, you could be getting like 60 points.
Yeah, so picking it really boosts your chances, but doesn't necessarily assure victory. So
there are 19 deities left. Let's go through the list first.
We're just going to list out all the deities left.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, do we have to talk about them or we just say names?
You can probably just say names.
Yeah,
or we could just say the one who's not going to die.
Yeah, that's fair.
Currently, on our leaderboard, the 20 deities that we have, only Pharasma has been marked safe. So everybody else is still on the board. And for the 20 core, we have Erastil, Iomedae, Torag, Sarenrae, Shaylin, Caden Kellyan, Desna, Abadar, Irori, Gozra, Nethys, Callistria, Gorum, Asmodeus, Zonkathon, Norgerber. I cannot say that correctly. Every time I'm like, anyway, Urgathoa, Lamashtu, and Rovagug.
Yes.
And not all of those deities we visited when we did our fabulous family reunion. So some of them we might give you a little bit more information on as we go through, since they might not be super familiar to you.
Sure. I'm also very impressed that you did that first try, only looking at pictures without words.
I practiced yesterday.
I had to help Sam.
Good.
I couldn't remember which one Lamashtu was because I'm so used to seeing the full body picture, which really throws you off. When you only have the headshots, you're like, wait, hold on, which one is that one?
Yes.
We'll be posting this on our Instagram as well.
Yes, we'll post the picture.
We have a full poster board that we are going to mark off and update week to week. So one more thing to note, because this is going to be super fun. We are also going to be doing a draft for our patrons. Not really a draft, but kind of a death
You can
pool.
join the fun.
Death pool.
So if you are one of our patrons at any paid level, I will be putting out a survey or a question, and you will be able to pick 6 deities that you think are going to die. And I will send out updates every week how everybody's doing score-wise. And the winners will get a prize. TBD.
We don't know what it will be.
Yes. But yeah, go to our Patreon page and check that out. So without further ado, actually, we do need one more thing to do. Hold on.
There we go. Go.
Because any good fantasy draft usually takes place at a bar where you sit for far too long and eat a lot of chicken wings.
Yes.
In lieu of that, we will be drinking in our basement.
Yes, we have our beverages. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do to figure out who the first seed is a roll-off.
Yes.
Okay, it's going to be great for the audio medium, but we'll tell what's going on.
All right.
Okay, we're all rolling a d20.
1, 2, 3.
I got a 10.
I got a 12.
That's hilarious. I got an 11.
Okay, so
winner!
Sam is the first seed, then Ryan, then me.
And then we're going to do
a
1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, so we're going to do a snake draft. So Sam goes first, I go third, then I go first in the second in the next round.
Cool.
All right, before we jump into the draft, I do just want to go over the information that we have available to us going into this. We have been following more of this on Reddit, so there have been some clues.
Ooh.
So just so that everybody is aware going in, let's talk a little bit about what we know so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is a post made by Luis Loza, who is the creative director for the Lost Omens line. He basically kind of runs that whole thing. So he's the lore man for Paizo. There was a Reddit post where he kind of consolidated all of the hints that had been given over the course of several months that they were going for.
When it definitely was also like the vibe is a bit. You read way too deep into some of my comments.
Yes.
So let's clear the record for some of them too.
Yep, agreed. So Sam, do you want to read through them?
Yeah, so we already know we're looking at our core 20. That's who we listed already. So obviously there are other deities outside of that, but they're not in our running. We know, this is my favorite fun fact, that Erasni, who is not part of the core 20, is going to become one of the core 20 after these events take place. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to take over that deity's portfolio or anything, but she's just going to move up in prominence is where we kind of land with that.
Right. So her pantheon could totally change depending on what happens.
Yeah. She won't end up inheriting whoever it could, but
yeah. So her purview is not necessarily going to change even if she moves into a slot.
Yes.
Yeah. And we haven't talked a lot about Erasni. Tyler, can you give me a high level, who is Erasni?
Erasni was a herald of Eredin and really got kind of screwed over by the Knights of Ozum, who are now the Knights of Lastwall. Got killed as a herald, got lichified by Geb.
Yes.
So was Queen of Geb for a while. Kind of broke free from that as part of Tyrant's Grasp and ascended to godhood as kind of a liberator, whatever. So has some baggage there.
Yes.
But we love a comeback
We
story.
do love
and it's like she's like part liberator, part Batman vengeance still.
Yeah.
So she will be moving up. So I'm really excited for that part.
Getting called to the A-team.
Oh, my favorite. Okay. We also know that the god who is dying, this has been in the works since summer of 2022. So this has like been a plan. It's not something that they just like woke up one morning and were like, let's kill someone off.
It wasn't in response to OGL.
Yes.
Yes, correct. We also know that Starfinder canon doesn't have bearing on what gods will live or die.
Yeah,
Which is good.
Yeah, because if you Starfinder is like 3,000 years in the future from Pathfinder lore.
Yeah, there's already some, like, the core is not exactly the same anyway.
No, some deities are around, some deities are not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also know they are not bringing back Aerodin just to kill him off again. So we're not cheating.
To be fair, he kind of deserves it if they did.
He probably would.
But yes, it's not that. They also have clarified they are not going to cheat and bring a dead god immediately back just to say they technically killed someone.
Yeah.
So whichever one of the gods dies is
We're playing for keeps.
they did.
Yeah.
So, okay. Next fun fact. The core deity is not the only god that is going to die as part of this event. Other gods will die, but it's only one from the core 20.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
It's going to be a
So, I
bloodbath.
mean, so we could have some of our more like minor divinities could be kicking the
Demigods
bucket.
and- yeah.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily like a one-on-one, oh, somebody got shanked.
Right.
So
Sure.
a little bit bigger than that. There have been some hints setting up some kind of development with Torag.
Take that as what you will.
Sure.
Right. We know that there will be at least one orc deity dying, and that would be outside of that core 20.
Mhm.
I don't know a lot about the orc deities, so I can't really give you any
I don't either, to be honest.
hints on that one, but we know
Neither
one of
do I.
them
My
will be
orc deity
involved.
knowledge is entirely tainted by 40K.
There you
so
go.
don't
Maybe
know
we'll
the
talk a little bit
Pathfinder
more
ones.
about them when we do Belkson.
Yes.
But we also know that there will be at least one herald of a deity dying. And fun fact, players will have a chance to witness this death in person. So I'm assuming that that is going to be part of one of the adventure paths.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
So,
cool.
Very excited. I mean, I feel bad saying I'm so excited about all these
I'm
people
so excited for all
dying.
this murder.
Excited for the bloodbath.
Woo! It's going to be great. Okay. We also know that major changes will occur as a result of the death. So there's going to be big repercussions in the world, which is great because I'm like, look, if you're going to like kill somebody off, like let's go all the way in and like have it be nuts.
Commit.
Yeah.
Very excited. We know that some of the pantheons will be changing as a result of this.
Mhm.
So we'll see kind of where that goes. This was the fun, weird one that I read, and I was like, wait, what now? The prismatic ray will be changing.
Which people are fired up about.
So tell me more about this, Ryan. I like read that and I was like, I don't really
So,
understand what that means.
I'm not sure whether they're talking about the prismatic ray pantheon or the spell.
My understanding was it was the Prismatic Ray Pantheon, which is Callistria, Desna, and
Is that right?
I thought so.
Okay, I read it as the spell and I was like, wait, what's happening? But
Yeah.
the pantheon
So
makes a little bit more
The
sense.
prismatic ray, I think, are Desna, Saren
Saren
Ray,
Ray,
and
and
Shaylin.
Okay.
For some are well regarded in the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, they're like a thruple.
Yes.
Kinda going
yes. So
on
the talk has been if
Ooh.
one of them is killed, the other two might go absolutely ham and start a murdering elsewhere.
Ooh.
Okay. Whew. Okay, so that makes more sense to me than the spell. I was like,
Yeah.
what is that going to do? Woo!
A slight yellow is gone.
I know. I was
Whoa.
like, okay. We know that someone named Sheikah will survive. I'm assuming that this is a herald or someone from a pantheon
know.
I'm not familiar with. But they're alive. Good for them. All right. And then just in general, there are going to end up being some gods that just won't be mentioned anymore due to connections to the OGL. That doesn't really play in specifically with which god is dying, but that's just one of the updates that we have.
Cool.
So Sheikah is one of the eldest divine fey creatures,
Oh.
able to reshape the fabric of the first world on a whim.
Oh, dang.
She is a talented chronomancer.
Oh.
We might have to do I think we have to do another deity episode.
Look,
So
you
she's
don't
gonna make
have
it.
to tell me twice.
Cool. Okay. Now that we've had that all out of the way, are we ready to dive in to the draft?
I'm going to do so bad. Yeah.
I'm so ready. Okay, I get to go first.
Yes.
And I'm
I
actually going
assume
to
you've been thinking about this a lot.
Look, I read all of the deity pages today to try to figure out who doesn't like who and who's against what. But I told Tyler who my first round draft pick was earlier, but it has changed.
Oh.
So my first round draft pick is Saren Ray.
Okay.
Oh.
Saren Ray.
So the reason why I am choosing Saren Ray is one, she is part of the prismatic ray pantheon
Yep.
that I understood, but I also had her picked prior to knowing what that was. She has really close ties with Torag. They both worked together to put Rovagug into the vault, and their followers continue to be fairly close in alignment. So the clue of like, okay, Torag's involved somehow made me think Sarenrae. And then also I feel like there are other minor deities who can kind of take up the mantle of what she has. If we look at when Arodin died, Milani, who is a lesser deity, took over his divine realm in the plains. So I feel like there's a couple of other like deities like that I think could kind of shift in and maybe gain some more prominence as a result of her possibly dying.
Okay. Sarenrae. Cool.
Interesting.
Ryan, you're up.
Okay. It's maybe a slightly more boring choice, and I did very little research except for like skimming on Reddit. I think Iomede's a high chance. Tyler just threw his head back.
I wanted Iomade.
That was my first round draft pick that I have shifted from, so we'll see if I hate myself for that.
She's already the inheritor. It would be, is it irony if the inheritor gets inherited? Arodin's heralds already have a bad track record anyway.
That was my thought.
I also feel like Iomade is really central to a lot of stuff that has occurred. Like the Crusades against Tar-Baphon, fighting up against the World Wound, and like she's already had a huge impact. And it might be a nice way to close that chapter on the lore of Galarian to say like, okay, Iomede's time is done. Things have happened. We're going to move on to a different human
vibe.
Yeah. Human-focused deity.
I like that. It was funny. We were out with friends yesterday, and one of them's in our Thursday group, Andy, and we were talking about the draft, and he goes, if Iomade dies, I'm going to be so angry.
Really?
Yeah. One of his characters is a big Iomade fan, and he's like big into the Inheritor and like Iomade lawful good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's so fascinating that I've seen that for basically every deity. Someone will post like, if Rovagug dies, I am going to be so mad. I have a great cleric of Rovagug.
I do think the other thing for Iomade that I just think is very cool is the parallels between Erasni and Iomade.
Yes.
Like I really the idea of like it should have been me kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why she was like high on my list. And
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also be okay with that as a story.
But it also could be like the pull the rug, right? Like they could announce next week, like you all thought it was Iomade, and
the
it's
red
not.
herring.
Yeah. I both love and hate how they're revealing it.
I know.
Like who's safe. I mean, I'm here for it, and it lets us actually do this draft. Okay, so my first pick, those were kind of my top two thoughts as well. I'm actually going to go with Shaylin in this one.
Okay.
The prismatic ray taking hits.
Yeah, my thought is if the prismatic ray is changing, I'm kind of thinking like who, you had Sarenrae, which I think that's a pretty good call. But like if Shaylin goes down, I feel like of the three in the ray, Shaylin is probably the least like likely to go murdering people. So it'd be interesting if she died, then like how much destruction Desna and Sarenrae are going to rain down.
They're going to just go scorched earth.
So the interesting thing about Shaylin, so her former herald is Nadiri, who is also a minor deity.
Yeah.
And so I thought about Shaylin in relation to Nadiri as well, because if Shaylin goes down, maybe Nadiri comes up, or Nadiri gets killed as one of those lesser, and then that pulls Shaylin in, and the prismatic ray changes too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, it'll be interesting to see whether the prismatic ray is changing due to one of them dying, or due to like a shift in relationships or something. Okay, so then, since it's a snake draft, I'm going again. And I'm going to go with something that I think would be a very interesting world shift. I'm going to go Rovagug.
Ooh, I see. I thought Rovagug would go late in the draft.
Because if we're going things who will die that'll, like, shake up the world.
Oh, yeah.
Like, having the creature that's in the middle of the world and in the vault, in the dead vault. I could see a world where he breaks out of the dead vault as part of the war and then is like killed after some like carnage has happened.
It also
isn't there something in one of the books about like some type of prophecy or something from Asmodeus about releasing Rovagug to eat an apocalypse.
Asmodeus has Rovagug's key, allegedly.
Yes. And like I thought there was something about like Asmodeus letting him out to prevent a different apocalypse. Like he goes and eats it.
I think it goes back to like this goes all the way back to like the prophecies of why Aridin died.
Yeah.
Of like there might have been a fated apocalypse, but maybe Aridin died to prevent that apocalypse. I think Aridin's a dick, so I don't think he was selfless. People were like,
is he the friend of the pod still? Oh no.
I mean,
he frenemy of the pod.
He can still be a friend of the pod, but like when people
it's like an irony type of friend.
Yeah, I've seen people like, oh, like Aridin's the god of humanity. He like stands for humans. Like Aridin's selfish. He would not die on behalf of the humans.
Yeah,
that's true.
But yeah, Rovagug's kind of like the nuclear weapon. Like mutually assured destruction. Everyone kind of plays nice because Rovagug is there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like he's a dark horse candidate.
That could work.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could definitely hold that one off too for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because part of this draft is not only figuring out who is going to die, but also who's going to get revealed later in the... Because even if you don't pick it right, if you have 6 people up until the last 7 reveals, you still get a ton of points.
Right.
It's true.
There's a lot of math there. Okay. Yep. All right, Ryan.
Okay, I'm gonna go Gorham.
Okay.
I think what better way to start off a war of gods than to kill the god of war?
Oh, okay.
I like that.
And I think that's just he's kind of neutral to all parties. So it could be, I don't want to say a safe way to initiate a conflict, but you could probably kill Gorham with less crazy initial stakes, but then all of a sudden, because the god of war is not there, like things spiral very quickly.
Okay.
Also, the orc pantheon, the orcs and half-orcs typically revere Gorham as one of their, I don't want to say core, but highly.
Yeah.
So the orc connection, I think, is interesting there as well.
Okay. I like that. Sam?
All right. My next pick, I'm going Zonkathon.
Ooh.
Oh, see, this was on my list. Okay.
Sibling rivalry.
Well, the reason why I'm choosing this one is so Zonkathon typically doesn't get involved in like conflicts. He's not usually initiating. So if I were writing this, how I would perceive it is we have a group of like good people or like good following things that maybe are like trying to root out evil, and he gets caught in it and dies. And as a result of this, I think this changes Shaylin because she's always like, eventually he could be saved. Maybe there's like a little bit of hope there. So like his death changes her pantheon, which then impacts the Ray.
Dang.
And then I'm
Sam's
thinking,
gonna win.
I don't know though, man. There's a lot of
this is similar to my thought of like, if you kill Zonkathon, Shaylin could go nuts.
Yeah.
Well, and then I was like, okay, so how do I pull in like Torag and the orcs? There's all these like random puzzle pieces. So for me, like the idea that we have like a good group that like we're rooting things out and doing stuff, then I think that is how we get like some of the other deities stuff like caught in it, right? Because like, you know, this one orc deity, like, I don't like them. So I think that's how I get to the other ones, because I feel like it can't be as personal as like a one-to-one, like I just don't like this person. We gotta like fan it out. But as Zonkathon is kind of like the face of yikes and yucky things, I think he could potentially kick that off.
Interesting. Okay. And then you get to go again.
Oh no. All right, well this is the point where I don't feel confident in any theories anymore. Okay, so my next weird thought bubble. My next one, I'm going Norberger.
Ooh,
okay.
Norgerber. I don't know how to say his name. Okay. My other fun like plot idea for like, okay, if we're gonna have like Wars of the Immortals, was something happens with the Starstone, and then those that have risen up via the Starstone, stuff goes bad, and then it's less about like, you know, I'm gonna murder this person, or maybe it is like, oh, the original people who were, you know, brought up by Pharasma are against now our risen Starstone-y deities, and then that causes conflict.
Yep.
And to me, like, Norgorber's a little expendable. There are other sorry,
Wow.
dude.
It's truth.
Well,
It's true.
there are other deities related to like assassins. There are other deities that could like
Praise the mantis god.
yeah. There's a lot of things that like could
Checker.
very
Check,
easily
yeah.
like take over and like
Yeah.
I don't know that I think he's like could that change things? Yeah, because we killed a deity and that's mostly the big thing. Or the issue is the Starstone. Like that I could see as like
Yep.
changing stuff, and somehow maybe Caden Kelly and Iomade get out and aren't murdered by
Yeah.
whatever this thing is. But that was my next thought.
Okay. I think that's very good logic.
Man. Yep.
All right. I'm stuck here.
Okay.
And I mean, Tyler probably picks one of these quickly afterwards. I'm kind of stuck between, I don't think they would kill Caden Kellyan, but I think Caden Kellyan's worth a ton of points. Because I could see them holding on to him
Oh,
for
yeah.
dramatic irony.
Ooh.
Or like just the drama. But I think I'm going to go with Abadar.
Okay.
I think the fact
Son of
I'm
a gun.
stealing Tyler's picks left and right. I think Abadar, being the holder of the first vault,
Yeah.
has so many potential dangerous things in there.
I can see
Oh.
somebody killing Abadar as part of the war to break out, like to get access to the vault.
Yep.
And then that being a big part of the war.
Yeah, like even if it wasn't intentional, like you were breaking into the first vault and then, oops, we accidentally killed Abadar. I still think that's a huge shakeup, and
Yeah.
a lot of consequences follow from that.
I was like, I was gonna go with Abadar next as well. Okay. So I think I'm gonna round out the prismatic ray and pick Desna.
Sure.
Ooh, you got 2 from the prismatic ray.
I
We got all three
do.
now, right? Oh, you do.
Well,
Yeah.
Tyler has 2 of them.
So I could see Desna. I feel like she also has a lot of conflict with, I know she has conflict with like outer gods and stuff. And like,
Mhm.
She's got conflict with a lot of people.
she has conflict with a lot of people.
She catches kind of strays in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. So I could see something like that happening where, it'll be interesting to see how deep the Immortals goes, whether like outer gods are popping in here, but I could see her becoming a casualty.
I think Desna's interesting too, because Desna oftentimes is, I don't want to say like default deity,
Mhm.
but I know like in the
Mhm.
Pathfinder Society lore, there are a lot of followers of Desna.
Yeah.
And you
Mhm.
see followers of Desna pop up all over the place because she like opposes slavery and she has
Yeah.
a lot of travel. So like
Mhm.
that is definitely very impactful
Yeah.
if you knock off Desna.
I keep going between like, is Paizo gonna play it safe? But like, I don't think Paizo's gonna play it safe.
I just don't know.
It's hard to tell. I feel like Paizo loves taking risks with things and like
Mhm.
doing things that people don't expect
Yep.
in a good way.
Yep.
So like, I could see them just sending it with this and be like, Desna's dead. Everyone's like, I'm sorry, what? Like, it
Awkward.
was not planned. Okay. And then I am gonna pick, I do like your Caden Kellyan theory just because he's going to be around for a while before
Yeah.
he's declared safe. Yeah, I think we've already drafted the person who's going to die.
Ooh.
Is my thought.
Okay.
That's my bet. So I'm going to go with Caden Kellyan because they would hold that one. They're not going to dang it. I'm like, would they tell them quickly or Paizo?
Well,
Pe-
interestingly,
people, I feel like if there was one deity that people would riot if they killed, it would be
Yeah.
Caden Kellyan.
I do not think Caden Kellyan's going to die. But now it's whether he is going to be whether he's going to be a good pick for the weekly points.
Sure.
well, honestly though, so the problem with that is like, I feel like the Pharasma theory was like strong, but they declared her safe right off the bat. I thought they would have.
Held on to Pharasma, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have no idea.
I wonder if they did that. So Pharasma was considered safe because there was basically a prophecy about Pharasma dying, but it sounded like because when Aridin died, it kind of like
breaks that
broke
prophecy.
it broke
Mhm.
prophecy, so then it was no longer a canon thing. I'm going Caden Kellyan.
All right.
Gonna do it.
Committed to it.
I am gonna lose this so bad. I feel like I've just picked. I've regretted it. I've regretted my decision so far. Oh, this is fine. This is giving me like fantasy football vibes. Like
I made every worst mistake.
I'm like, I think I should have picked different people.
We are not going to do trades, so we're just locking
no
it
trades.
in.
That would be hilarious.
Can I do a next year's draft
The
pick
waiver
for-
wire. I'd like to trade my 2027 pick.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna draft another deity death. It's fine.
You never know.
Okay.
All right, so it's back to
Ryan,
Ryan.
you're back to
I'm going to stick to my like first vault kind of chaos issue and pick Asmodeus. Because I think you can still have first vault shenanigans. Asmodeus is connected to Rovagug.
Mhm.
Asmodeus has grudges. Asmodeus has alliances. You can do a lot there. And I think you can kind of, I don't want to say fix Cheliax, but you can start to file the corners off of Cheliax.
if Asmodeus dies.
If Paizo's like, maybe Nazis is not what we want in our setting, Asmodeus dying would let them be like, oh, and now things are different in Cheliax. And it probably gets worse before it gets better in Cheliax, but...
So my question with Asmodeus, because they make that thing or the note about like some gods just aren't going to be referenced anymore, where does Asmodeus like from a copyright standpoint come from?
He's like yieldy English.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I was like,
So-
is he a copyright issue
No,
and we're not going to
no,
continue
because
talking about
basically,
him?
yeah, like Prince of Demons or like Prince of Devils Asmodeus is
Right.
I don't think it's I don't think it's far back as Dante's, but
yeah. So that is not OGL because
Okay.
basically wizards
it's-
didn't make
right.
deity. There's some, I'm not sure about like other layers, like Despater might be on the chopping block,
Okay.
but Asmodeus is definitely
in the Testament of Solomon, a 1st to 3rd century text, the king invokes Asmodeus to aid in the construction of a temple. The demon appears and predicts Solomon's temple will be one day divided.
So
Well, okay then.
what's
It's
the,
way back.
Predates wizards.
Did wizards come out before
the
that?
1st century?
Mm,
Probably.
just a few. So yeah. Okay, so Asmodeus. That's a good one.
Okay. Ah,
You get to pick 2 now, Sam.
I know. This is rough, man.
Running out of...
Well, now
the
it's
connections
like
get harder and harder.
now it's like, who do I think is maybe just going to stick around?
That's why
through the
I
draft?
like the scoring template of
Yeah.
you get points for people who have not been picked. So it's not just like, oh,
Whatever.
I think the person's been picked. Let's just go for it. There will be one person left over because we're each drafting 6. So if the last person we don't pick happens to be the one to die, I don't know what we do then. We
suck. is what
We suck. Yeah.
We all get 0 points. All right, I'm going to go Callistria
I think it's a good choice.
That is a good
because
choice.
I don't think that she's going to die, but I think that she's one that like they might hold off on revealing until a little later. So I'm going to take her, and then my next one. Ugh. This is where you're like,
We're like in the
"Ugh."
4th round of the draft, and you're like, what 3rd tier receiver do I put
Right.
on my bench?
This
All
is
right,
where
so
I
who
start
do we
thinking about
have-
backups or rookies.
All right, so who we have left? We've still got Erastil.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
We've still got Torag.
Got Gozra
Yep.
too, right?
We have
Gozra.
Gozra, we have Aurori,
We have Nethys.
Urgathoa, and Lamash too.
Uh-huh.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah. Because we're each at 4 right now, so we each get 2 more picks.
All right, well, honestly, I feel like Torag is involved per the clue, but I feel like they're not. I feel like he'd be an easy, like, yeah, he's not dying, so we already talked about him, so I'm not going to choose that
Sure,
one.
sure.
Also, they just went through High Helm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be a tougher, yeah.
All right, I'm going to choose Erastil.
Ah!
Sorry.
Ah!
Sorry, Ryan.
I actually think he's a terrible choice, but he was my aspirational choice. I want Erastil to die.
Yeah.
I feel like he's the one that's just going to get forgotten. Like, we're not super excited to hear about, like, if he survives or not. So I feel like he'd be a good, like, we're going to find out in June, like, that he's fine. But everyone's going to be like, who?
Yeah.
So-
Have you ever met somebody who plays a cleric of Erastil? Really?
I think I did a druid when I did Dusk, my Leshy Druid, I like picked a Rascals. I'm like, oh, nature. And then I read about it. I'm like, I'm changing that. Boring.
I hope. I'd be so happy. That he's like the one that I would actually be happy if he
What's
goes.
the prop bets? I hope you die.
There's actually just like a weird like wild hunt like in the god realm.
Oh, see, that could be a fun way to do it, though.
Accidentally murders him. Oh, shoot. That wasn't a deer.
That's fair. Okay, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay.
Second to last pick.
Second to last pick. I'm going to go Nethys.
Okay.
I don't think they'll kill Nethys because the archives of Nethys are a thing, and it sounds like a lot of work to rename the archives of Nethys.
Have already, the workers there have already gone through a lot of effort with the remaster. Don't make them change this.
The archives of the artist formerly known as Nethys.
R.I.P.
Yeah, and I just feel like Nethys is very much like I observe. I don't feel like Nethys really gets into the politics.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to almost be a non-entity in this war.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might net me some points.
Okay.
I feel like they don't kill Nethys till like halfway through.
Yeah.
That's where I was with Erastil.
Yeah.
I was like, you're gonna chill out until the middle.
Okay, so I get to pick my last two, and we're down to Torag, Irori, Gozra, Urgathoa, and Lamashtu.
Yep.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna pick Lamashtu.
Okay.
Because if nothing, like, yeah, I don't know, Lamashtu's weird. I could see. I'm not sure the shakeup of that one. Well,
I think I read somewhere that Lamashtu does have some weird relationships with some other deities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just she's a she, right? They?
Yes. I think
she. Mother of monsters.
Mm-hmm.
She. Lamashtu's just one of those weird ones that like chaos.
Yeah, like just kind of there.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's other people to take that reign. So now I'm just wondering who's going to be left. I'm like, I don't think Aurori's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But will he be around?
Will he net you points?
Will he net me points? It's my last pick point netter, and I just got to hope that all of my people net me points because I don't think I have the person who dies.
Mm.
Unless it's the prismatic ray, which I'm covered.
Tyler's like, I have 3 quarterbacks.
Guys, how many kickers was I supposed to draft? I got 4.
I've drafted 4 kickers.
I did feel this way last year in my draft. I'm like, oh, I've made a mistake, maybe. Okay, I think I'm gonna go. You know what? Send it. I'm going Torag.
Okay, interesting.
Because like, if it has something to do with him, it would be funny if they're like, they're like the hint of something has to do with Torag.
It's like, we're gonna kill Torag.
He dies.
Oh, awkward.
Yep. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a choice of all my choices.
Okay.
Of all my choices, that was one of them.
Okay.
Right. Ryan, who's your last pick?
I'm gonna go Urgathoa.
Damn it! That's what I was gonna pick.
I think she has Erasni connection because of Lich kind of stuff.
That's where I was too.
I think that's a really weird thing.
I
don't think she would go murder that god. I don't think she'd kill Urgathoa, but
no.
There's like a tenuous enough connection that I feel like I can justify it at least.
The reason I didn't pick Urgathoa is like she's the undead goddess. And like of all undead, like it comes from her. So like we're talking about people who can fill the shoes of, and I'm like, there is kind of a Erasni there, but like,
well, that's why like maybe
I don't know if there's like an undead herald that can pop up and be like, what up? Unless like Geb ascends to godhood or like
Rasmir.
Rasmir. Wait, is he undead now? What? It's fine. That's
he does have that deal with
he couldn't get a hold of a Sun Orchid elixir, so he just went the Lich route.
All right, Sam, finish this
Final
out.
pick.
Okay. Well, I'm down to either Aurori or Gozra, and I don't think either one of them are going to die, so I'm like, which one do I think they would wait longer to reveal it's not them?
I'll be honest, I usually forget Gozra exists.
I also usually forget Gozra exists.
Rodney in one of my campaigns is a
Gozra,
a champion of Gozra.
Okay.
I think Andy picked Gozra for a campaign too.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
And then we have a campaign where one person has picked Aurori, I believe. Didn't Greg pick Aurori once?
Yeah, Greg picked it for Fist of the Rude Phoenix character.
Ugh. I hate this. Okay. I am going to roll a dice. And
The dice started and the dice take it.
Watch
Alright.
it. Watch this be it, though.
Yeah.
All right,
The fate decides.
evens are Rory, odds Gozra. That's how we're going to do this.
Okay.
All right, and that is a 6, so I am picking a Rory.
Okay.
Okay.
So then Gozra is the one that no one is going to draft.
If Gozra is the one that dies, Sadie wins.
Sadie wins.
Oh,
Our dog.
good job, doggo.
Yes. Cool. So, yeah. With that, the first and probably only tabletop official deity draft has been completed. How do you guys feel about your picks? Where are you guys at? I'm not feeling great.
I feel like I have a strong first string, and then my bench is not very strong.
I think the problem is that, like, there are so many. So even, well, theoretically, one of us has the god who is going to
Hopefully.
die. Even if you get, like, that, if, like, they release your whole team in the next 6 weeks, and then you're like, oh, shoot. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
so I think there will still be which one of us is going to win?
There is,
which is
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, there is a chance because you can, like I said, if you get a maximum of 3 points per week,
Yep.
if all of your people are still in the running, and it's 20-ish weeks before they eliminate
Right,
everybody.
you could definitely stack the points.
Yeah, you can get 60 points, and then if you are the person who has the right answer, but everybody else gets immediately
Mm-hmm.
drawn. So like it's if you picked the right one, you'll probably win, but it's not a sure thing.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had more people drafting, so your team was smaller, it would feel a little bit more like, oh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this will be interesting to see how this goes. I'm also excited to see like who everybody else picks from the patrons to see like what their like splits look like.
So-
and I want to hear everyone's fan theories.
Yeah. I will put as part of the not survey, but as part of the entry, when you make an
Sure.
entry, you'll put in your name,
Sure.
an email. So that
Sure.
way I can actually get a
Sure,
hold of you.
sure.
We realized during our listener survey that I didn't give an email, so couldn't really respond to people.
Sure.
And then you get to pick your 6, and then I want your best theory.
Yep.
As to why. Like what's your top theory?
Yeah.
So
And then at the end of a tie, we will figure out a tiebreaker.
we'll figure out a tiebreaker. But yeah, I'm excited. If you are interested in joining us along this, I will put the results out on Patreon, and I'll probably we'll do a status update at the beginning of every episode, just to kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
And maybe who was eliminated last week. So
Tyler, we could 3D print a mini of the god that dies for the winner.
Oh, that'd be fun. And
Or
we
like
could paint it.
And like a trophy. Yeah.
We could do it like a trophy, or we could just straight up like print the mini, and I could try to paint it. I'm like a very average painter.
I'll help.
Yeah.
This is not like a Squidmar thing where it's like you're getting a beautiful, like you're going to get a very average miniature.
Fair.
But it's fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, prize TBD. If you want to join us, hit up our Patreon. It'll be for anybody on any tier. Put in your entry. We'll have a status update every week. I'll post something out there where the scores are.
And if you're not on Patreon, feel free to just send us your theories anyway.
Yeah.
We're interested.
We would love to hear them. I think at the very end of this, once they have announced, or maybe right before they announce, I would like to do like a follow-up episode where we talk about the best fan theories or the best things that people have sent.
When we're down to like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
I think that'd be fun.
Nice. Well, thank you for doing this with us and joining us. Check our Instagram. We did put a printout. We had our deities marked up with our initials, and we're going to cross them out as we go. So check our Instagram at Tabletop Travel Guide to see our updates. We will update as Paizo releases their blogs.
Yep.
Also check out Paizo's blogs. They do have like a kind of fun story.
Yeah, it's not just like they mark it. Like it was like probably like 20 or 30 paragraphs of like in universe lore and stuff too.
So it's pretty cool. Check that out. And again, hit us up on our Patreon, link in the show notes. Also, You can look up Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast on Patreon. You can hit us up on our email with all your best theories, tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. Please send us your theories. We love hearing about them. We love talking about the conspiracy lore and where people are at. So
whoever's got that Lamashtu theory, I would like to see it.
yes, if you have a
I
Lamashtu,
cannot make one in my head.
yeah, hit us up somewhere. Hit us up and DM us. And with that, I think this wraps up our draft for the 2024 year.
Woo!
Safe travels, everybody.